Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. And today I want to do something out of the box. What I want to do today is a post draft challenge. Now, you might be thinking, what is a post draft challenge? Well, have you seen some of the videos on YouTube done by very famous YouTube fans, football fans, obviously, and where they go and do those football drafts, those fantasy football drafts. So I've seen quite a few, in my time, and I've always been inspired to draft my own team to kind of like go against theirs, so to speak. So for this unique video, if you will, this I'm going to reference a YouTube channel called The Big Six. Now, in case you're wondering what that channel is, well, six of the most popular football fans on YouTube have formed together representing the Premier League Big Six. So one fan per big club in the Premier League. And they've come together and they've done this ultimate draft video. And I've watched it and I'm kind of inspired to do that. So I'm going to try and draft my team to kind of like match up with theirs as best as I can. All right. So to recap what they've done, here's a list of their drafted teams. So we have Turkish, we have Matisse, we have GRIZZ, we have Toby, we have Big Steve, and we have SAEED. Now, these guys have drafted six awesome squads. So this is going to be a very big challenge for me to draft a team because of the rules that I'm going to impose on myself for this post-draft challenge. The first rule is, because this video of theirs was recorded some time back, I have to make sure that the draft picks I pick are not beyond their date of video release. So for example, Liverpool have a few new signings this season: Alexander Isak, Hugo Ekitike, and the striker market from this summer transfer, Sesko or Gyökeres. I can't pick them, so to speak. Even Matthias Cunha and Mbuemo, Xavi Simons, all these players, I can't pick them at all. The second rule, and more importantly, I cannot pick any of those players that they have drafted. So whatever draft picks I pick has to be players that they have not drafted. So for example, if you saw the teams earlier, right? Turkish has Zidane, or GRIZZ has Messi, or Matisse has CR7. I can't pick them again. I have to pick brand new players, so to speak, and go against them. But here's the good news, because the video that I'm responding to, or the draft that I'm going to go against them with, so to speak, is a world draft. And as Turkish said, any player, any era, obviously based on the first rule up until the date of recording. So this is going to be good. This is going to be a big challenge. So I'm going to go right for it. So my formation is a 4-2-3-1 with a little tweak in the midfield three. Instead of a double pivot, I'm going to go like a number 6 on the left and number 8 on the right, and then number 10 up front. But I'm going to start in goal. Now, in goal, based on the picks that they have picked, they have goalkeepers that we've known for over 20 years, but their prominence, or their prime, if you will, always they are at the millennium. So for example, like Buffon or Casillas or Cech or Peter Schmeichel, for example, these guys are well known in the 90s and in the turn of the millennium. So I'm going to pick in goal, one of those keepers that are you could say are up there. He's up there with those keepers. So in goal, my selection is Edwin van der Sar. That's right, Edwin van der Sar. He first came to prominence as the number one keeper for Juventus back in the Serie A, and during that time, when you look at the likes of Van der Sar, you look at the likes of Buffon, you look at the likes of Francesco Totti, for example, you wouldn't think that they'll end up in the Premier League. Yet somehow Fulham managed to sign Edwin van der Sar into the Premier League. So that's something that I personally didn't think was going to happen, but somehow it did. And eventually Van der Sar found his way to Man United, and he won the League and Champions League double back in 2008. So he's my goalkeeper. Now, in terms of my back four, as far as I can remember, my first centre back is not chosen by anybody, and I'm surprised Big Steve did not choose him either. So my first centre back is Man City captain, or former Man City captain, Vincent Kompany. You know, since Steve picked the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Rio Ferdinand, and GRIZZ has Nesta, I believe somebody picked Puyol, somebody picked Sergio Ramos, but to me, Vincent Kompany, he's a stalwart. He's a one-man defense fortress, if you will. So I think, and he's overlooked by the likes of Ferdinand and Terry. So I'm going to pick Vincent Kompany as my first centre back. Now, to partner with him, I'm going to piss off Turkish on this one. Since Turkish picked Zidane, there's only one centre back I know of that can really get underneath the skin of Zinedine Zidane, and that's why he's my centre back partnership. He's my centre back partner with Vincent Kompany, none other than Marco Materazzi. Yeah, that's right. Just think back to the 2006 World Cup final and how Zidane got red carded. Marco Materazzi got underneath his skin to the point where the infamous headbutt happened. Zidane got red carded, and by the way, Marco Materazzi scored in the World Cup final to equalize for Italy. Now, as for my right back, I think this is my Liverpool related player in my draft, in my 11 player draft. I have to go with Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, come on. Local Liverpool lad, one of the best right backs ever for Liverpool, obviously. Not so much doing so well in Madrid, but come on, his crosses, his free kicks, his passing. He's an attacking fullback. I'm drafting a more of an attacking squad because, when I see the rest of the squads that they have drafted, I need a rather attacking squad to kind of go, bring it to them. So to me, Trent Alexander-Arnold fits this profile. On the left side, you might think I'm going for Andrew Robertson, but no, I'm not doing that. I'm actually picking the left back version of Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he's also a forgotten name through the years, but I think the fans like Big Steve and GRIZZ, if they know Nesta, and so on and so forth, if they know Marco van Basten, then they would know this left back. I'm going to put him at left back, Gianluca Zambrotta. Gianluca Zambrotta he's an attacking fullback before Trent Alexander-Arnold was an attacking fullback. So I got my two fullbacks attacking on the left and on the right. Now, here's my midfield three. Let me start with the number 6. And quite honestly, I got a pit bull. I have a pit bull for number 6 position. And he is a ruffian, if you will. He's a rough and tough guy, and I think Alessandro Del Piero said he was he's one of the few guys that can get under his skin. So he's a rough and tough guy. You could say he can give Roy Keane a run for his money. So my my pick for the number 6 position, Gennaro Gattuso. Think back to AC Milan versus Liverpool, both in Istanbul and in Athens. The one guy from AC Milan that really disrupted Liverpool's attack was none other than Gennaro Gattuso. And he is a no-nonsense guy. He is the number 6 version of Sergio Ramos, if you ask me. So, without the yellow cards and red cards, obviously. So my number 6 is Gennaro Gattuso. And partnering him at number 8, the box in the box-to-box position. And how did these guys miss out Super Frank Lampard? That's right. I'm picking Frank Lampard. If you guys didn't pick him, I am. All right, Frank Lampard, because GRIZZ picked Steven Gerrard. Somebody over there picked Paul Scholes, and no one else picked Lampard. So I'm picking him. Now, in my number 10 is another forgotten name, but also with Gattuso was a thorn in Liverpool's side in both Champions League finals in Istanbul and Athens. And he's a Brazilian magician. To me, I think he made a mistake signing for Real Madrid, because at AC Milan, he was the maestro. He was the attacking maestro. He's the guy, he's the puppet master, if you will. And he's a Brazilian magician for the Brazilian team. I'm only talking about one man, Ricardo Kaká. Ricardo Kaká is my number 10. Now, for my left wing, how did you guys miss out on maybe the best player right now in European football? I don't know how you guys missed him out, so I'm going to pick him. Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe is going to be placed on my left wing, but I'm picking Kylian Mbappe. Self-explanatory, isn't it? Now for my right wing, the right wing is a little tricky, because there are 2 players I'm thinking of for the right wing position, and no, TURKISH, Eto'o is not one of them. But if he has played right wing before, then so be it. You know, I'll leave it to you guys to continue debating about him. So I am going to pick one. He is technically a right side midfielder, but if you ask him to go up one level and play on the right wing, I think he can. Saeed's gonna love this. I'm picking David Beckham. That's right. I'm taking David Beckham. A Liverpool fan, taking a Manchester United player and a Manchester United goalkeeper. But you got to give credit where credit is due. You know, so I'm going to pick David Beckham, my right wing. So we're coming close. We're coming close to my number 9. I've got Van der Sar, Kompany, Materazzi, Trent, Zambrotta, Gattuso, Lampard, Kaká, Mbappe, Beckham, and I need a number 9. And since the World Cup this year is going to be co-hosted in the United States, I think it's only right that I pick the MVP of the last World Cup held in the United States back in 1994. And I think through the years, he's an overlooked striker. He can play the number 9. He can also play the number 10. But since I got Kaká at number 10, I think it's only right that I put him in the number 9. He's an Italian legend, the one and only Roberto Baggio, the Italian backsman himself, Roberto Baggio. So that's my draft, my team to go against the teams of the Big 6. Again, I can't pick the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi or Luis Suarez or so on and so forth. So what team can I draft? What players can I draft to go against them? And for me, I think this is my best 11. So let's recap. It's Van der Sar in goal. Van der Sar in goal. My back 4 is Zambrotta, Kompany, Materazzi, Trent. My midfield 3 is Gattuso, Lampard, and Kaká. On my wings are Mbappe and Beckham. And my number 9 is Roberto Baggio. Now, Big 6, TURKISH, GRIZZ, TOBS, Big Steve, Matisse, and SAEED. Let's do something that has never been done before, at least to my memory, whenever people do this type of drafts. Normally, they just stop at 11 people. Obviously, the ultimate 11. I challenge you guys, if you will, if you know what I mean. Let's take this one step further. Let's take it up a notch. Let's draft a 7-man subs bench to complement your drafted 11. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna pick my 7, and then if you guys see this video, you might want to follow up on your drafts in a separate video and draft up your 7-man subs bench, and it has to include one goalkeeper. So I'm gonna start with my 7. In goal, you know me, Liverpool fan, Alisson Becker is in my subs bench. As for my other 6 subs, well, I'm going to go with 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 2 forwards. But this is a tough one, isn't it? So, wow, this is actually kind of tougher than I thought it was going to be. But my 2 defenders, and they're going to have to find a way to coexist. They coexist as pundits, as a pundit team. But I'm going to draft Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. Let's see how they coexist on the field. And they're going to have to, especially when they're subbing in for the likes of Trent, Zambrotta, Company, and Materazzi, you know. But I think it's doable because if Trent is performing poorly, that's Gary Neville to pair with David Beckham again. And you know, Jamie Carragher is a pit bull of a defender. You know, he can work well with Materazzi. He can work well with Vincent Kompany. And Carragher has played left back and right back before, so I got like a very versatile defender in Carragher. And GNF on the left back, right back, full back position. Yeah, that's a good pick with Beckham if he comes in. In terms of my midfield 2 subs, one of which is actually a forgotten legend as well, and he's the only person that I know of that would wear a pair of prescription glasses on the field. If my glasses are any indication, you know who I'm referring to. Dutchman Edgar Davids. That's right, Edgar Davids will be in my subs bench. He's playing more of a defensive side of things, but he can swap between number 6 and number 8 position. Now, as for my other midfielder, wow, this is a tough one because there's so many to pick. You know, when I think of all the great players that have played in this sport over the years, well, this is not as easy as I think it's gonna be. But wow, this is tough. This is really tough. Well, I haven't had any I don't think there's ever been an Asian player that's been drafted by you guys or myself. So I'm gonna pick this Asian player, and he is star in the World Cup back in 2002. He's one of the more popular players from Japan, and he's a forgotten name. But in Serie A he was pretty good, pretty skilled. He eventually came to the Premier League. I can't remember who he played for in the Premier League, but you know, he has some level of popularity. So my subs bench to join Edgar Davids, and he has played central midfield as well, Hidetoshi Nakata. Guys, look it up. And for all you viewers out there, look it up as well. Look him up. And to round up my subs bench, he can play on either wing. He can also play as a number 9, Sadio Mane. Since Matisse picked Mo Salah, I'm gonna pick Sadio Mane. He's the only other Liverpool affiliated player. And my last substitute striker. You know what? I'm gonna need a hustler, a giant. So I'm gonna go with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That's right. So my subs bench, let's recap my subs bench, is Alisson, Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, Edgar Davids, Hidetoshi Nakata, Sadio Mane, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Big six, the ball's in your, I was gonna say the ball's in your court, but TOBS, GRIZZ, SAEED, Turkish, Steve, and Matisse. I invite you guys to bring this draft to the next level. Remember the teams that you drafted, and now draft up your subs bench to complement your starting 11. I've already done mine. I'll leave the recap. I'll put up a screen. I'll recap my drafted 11 and my subs bench. It's over to you guys. And as always, to you viewers out there, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Not just to me this time, but to the Big Six and all their individual channels. So, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.